Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the channel. If you are here because you love electric cars or where electric cars are going, then stay tuned because I'm going to give you the top 5 reasons why you should not buy an electric car. And who knows, you might learn something new and interesting. If you're new to the channel, definitely go subscribe, like the channel, and, stay tuned and relax. Maybe have some coffee.
They add EVs everywhere?
They shalln't. They shan't. Is it shallant or shan't?
It's neither.
What about here, Erica?
You're ruining the show, you idiot.
What do you mean? It's me, Dusty.
You're not.
Yeah, you're right. This is ridiculous.
All right, so if you're like me, you probably really were intrigued with electric cars and pretty much what Tesla was doing. All right, so Tesla has done amazing work when they introduced the electric vehicle, or I should say reintroduced the electric vehicle. And they did a great job of branding and creating all these this hype behind the car. And honestly, I was right there with them. I thought electric cars are just going to be amazing. I was really excited for the future. But there were some concerns. Now, I'm going to jump right into it with the number 5 reason why you shouldn't buy, and really it's a really important one. Charging stations. Do you know how hard it is to find charging stations? Especially if you're not in somewhere like, I don't know, California. They're not very well established yet. I mean, I think as time goes along, we'll see them pop up more and more, which we are. But right now, it's not the time. And then when you do go to these charging stations, what are you seeing when you're there?
So literally at 11:30 in the morning on a Saturday, you got to sit in line to charge this thing. This is crazy.
So now if you're trying to plan your trip or you're going to work or whatever it may be, you're going to lose a lot of time. You actually have to plan. So really, those charging stations are going to dictate how you drive, when you drive, and, well, where you drive. All right, so jumping into reason number 4, why you should not buy an electric vehicle. And honestly, it's probably one of the biggest because it's the most impactful initially, and that is the high initial cost. Yes, some of the brands like Tesla and Kia and all these brands have come out and released cheaper entry-level vehicles, but they're still relatively high in comparison to, I don't know, like a Honda Civic or something comparable. And this really does cause a lot of issues when you're trying to get into that market. And then on top of that, you're afraid to buy used because really the vehicles aren't established yet in the grand scheme of things. Look at gasoline-powered engines. It's been around for, 100 plus years, and now the EVs are coming in and they're just not quite there yet. All right, reason number 3, and I think this is one of the top reasons in my personal opinion, and that is the range limitations. Yes, I spoke about finding charging stations and how it dictates, where you're going at with your car, but these electric vehicles have come, a really long way. They're hitting, up to 300 miles for, entry vehicles, which is really good. But in comparison to gasoline engines, it doesn't even compare. And I say that because these vehicles that are coming out, like Tesla, I'm just going to use Tesla because it's just the mainstay of the EV world. They will tell you, the car will tell you that they have 300 miles left on it, but if it's a hot day, you're pumping AC, if you're using the radio and all this other stuff, it drains those batteries a lot faster, and you're not really getting an accurate count. I think the brand that does the best is Porsche. I know I love Porsche and I'm biased, but really when you look at the Taycan, that car really is really accurate when it gives you your range. I think of all the vehicles that I've driven for EVs, that was the most accurate. I think it was dead on and you knew what you were getting. Unlike the Teslas and the Kias, they kind of left you kind of wondering and giving you that range anxiety is what I call it, because the anxiety is real. Especially if you're taking those longer trips, you may now require really careful planning to make sure you're not in excess of your range. And then you have to account, if you're here in Texas like I am, and you're going in these backwoods rural areas, there are no charging stations. You really have to plan out your trip in accordance to make sure you're finding charging stations. That 300 miles range in Texas might leave you stranded to find a charging station, which I may or may not have been stranded once or twice. All right, going on to reason number 2, why you should not buy an electric vehicle. And that is, to be frank, they're ugly.
U-G-L-Y, and you ain't got no alibi, you ugly.
Majority of them are ugly. And if you want the really nice ones, like say the Porsche or the Rivian, you're gonna pay 6 figures for it. And in my personal opinion, there are a lot of things that I can buy for 6 figures rather than a semi good looking EV. Have you seen the Cybertruck? That thing is hideous. I'm sorry, I liked it initially when it came out, but the more and more you look at it and it grows on you, it's like this weird Cybertruck wannabe. The nose is cut. It's absolutely hideous, team. I'd rather go buy the Ford F-150 Lightning. It's dependable. The brand has got tons of history. It's been around forever, and the service is there, and the parts are there. It's just more established. I would never buy that Cybertruck. But, you know, if that's what you want, that's what you like, go do you. All right, now I'm gonna jump into reason number 1 why you should definitely not buy an electric vehicle. And that reason is gonna be a little controversial to my tree huggers and my hippies out there. Now, don't get me wrong. I love electric vehicles. I love where it's gonna take us and how it's gonna fix our world and get off the gasoline and help with the emissions. I totally get it, and I'm right there with you. But I don't think we're there yet. Number 1 reason why you shouldn't be buying one of these things is they're not all that eco-friendly as they portray. Yes, they might help with physical emissions coming out of the vehicles, but when you think about it...
But what does it take to make all these batteries? What do we do with them once they're spent?
How do you dump that? Where does it dump into? Think of how heavy they are and how you have to transport them. There are a lot of things that go into it. So is it really all that eco-friendly? I don't think we're there yet. I am more in line with the idea of having a dual system. Look at the Acura NSX. The Acura NSX, I think, did it right. They had a mixture of, 2 electric engines and then 1 gas, or maybe even BMW. Their vehicles, they have their 4-cylinder engines in there to kind of get rid of that anxiety, that range anxiety, but it also makes it a lot more dependable. And in my personal opinion, I think if you do the math, it makes more sense to, you know, do a soft opening into the EV world rather than just going all in. We should have just slowly gone into more hybrid until we can transition into fully electric one day where it's more sustainable and we plan things out. Anyways, that is my top 5 reasons why you should not buy an electric vehicle. And this is all done just based off research and looking at the forums and talking to people and my personal experience and some of the things that I've encountered. So if you're looking at buying or getting into electric vehicle for the first time, definitely do your research, consider what your needs are, and, well, go from there. All right, team, that is all I have. If you're new, please go subscribe, like this video, hit the bell. I am releasing videos almost weekly now, and it's all about talking cars. Something I'm very passionate about, and I love interacting with everybody on here. I'm on Instagram, Talk Cars, go find me. But again, go subscribe, show some love and support, and until next time, stay passionate and let's drive.